Hello and welcome to Let the Bird Fly, a podcast about living freely in a world given back to us. This is Wade here in our not podcast studio. We are in Rome by the Trevi Fountain in our hotel room for our final night stay in Rome. Here with us are my daughter and her boyfriend, who for some reason did not want to be in this video but did hit play for us.
That is shocking. I'm surprised they wouldn't want to join us, but
Yeah.
that is the case.
They have been traveling with us since Saturday. Jason and I spent 9 hours next to each other on a flight into Zurich.
Yes,
that went okay.
It did, yep.
We're not quite made for European seats,
right?
But we managed. From Zurich to Rome, I got to sit with my daughter in between me and her boyfriend, which gave me a little spillage. Jason got to sit on his own, well, with someone in a row next to us.
It was okay.
About 36 hours maybe. We'll be on a 10-hour flight out of Munich back to Chicago. We're going to be flying to Munich tomorrow. We'll have the very end of the evening, the night in Munich, hoping to take the youngins to the Hofbrauhaus, see the Marienkirche or Marienplatz at least.
Right.
A lot of our haunts. We've been to Munich a number of times.
Yes. That was our first destination for international travel together.
Yes, it was Munich. Years ago when we were young and still fat.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe not as.
Yeah. So we have had. This is this your first time in Southern Europe?
Yeah, this is my first time in Europe outside of Germany.
And this is my second time in Southern Europe. I've been in Croatia for a week. First time in Italy. We started with Zurich. We had about 7 hours to kill in Zurich. We took the train down to the city center. Rather confusing train station, but we found our way to the Zwingli sites. Ulrich Zwingli was a Swiss reformer. Did not get along well with Luther.
Nope,
or maybe we could better say Luther did not get along well with him. But we've talked about that in the Luther series, Mike and I, in the Winging It series on the life of Luther, on Zwingli, but also on the Marburg Colloquy. And it was nice to see the Grossmünster. Zwingli Platz, is that what they were?
Yep, there was a Zwingli Platz.
And then the statue, and get a little sense for the city. Made our way to Rome, and we have been in Rome, except for yesterday. We had a day in Florence. We took the train there and back. Did you enjoy rail travel?
That was nice. I was glad we got a chance to try that. It gave us the opportunity to see the Italian countryside, and Rome has been great. We've been trying to squeeze as much as we can into the time that we have in Rome, but it was also great to have a day in there to see another city and check out what else Italy has to offer.
All right, so we're going to do our favorite so far. Favorite non-religious site we visited?
Favorite non-religious site, I would have to say, was the Forum. I really liked all the layers of history going back pre-Christian through the transition to Christianity, including some of the post-Christian additions. That was just, I think, really a neat thing from a historical perspective.
And I would agree. I enjoyed the Colosseum, but I'd probably have to go with the Forum as well. And it's kind of cheating because it's kind of a religious site as well, because we got to visit the prison where Peter and Paul were supposedly held right off the Forum.
Yep.
Obviously, the Forum becomes and the Colosseum a place where Christianity was put on display in not good ways, but for entertainment with persecution. But I go Forum. What about favorite church?
Well, and I mean, the other thing was our battle on the arena floor,
which we didn't get to do because they confiscated my selfie stick.
Right. Yep. That was your secret weapon, but
which we got back.
We did. Yep. Thus, the video.
That's what is being used, because it's also a tripod. A lot of people following us on Facebook don't realize it's also a tripod. It's not merely a tool for vanity.
Right.
It's also a tool for quality religious broadcasting.
Right, exactly. As
Favorite
far as
church,
favorite
Jason?
church, I think that I would still probably say the St. Paul's Outside the Walls, although the Saint Sebastian connected to the catacombs today that we did is right up there just because of the whole experience with that. But I would say, as far as if you're talking just the church, St. Paul Outside the Walls.
Yeah, I agree. St. Paul Outside the Walls. I think the having the sarcophagus of Paul there, the chains he was supposedly held by, but not just having them there, and whether they are authentic or not, to see the. It was one of the few churches where people were actively being devout or pious, to see Roman Catholics using a Roman Catholic space in a Roman Catholic way. And it's not that no one's using the churches, but often when you're there just to tour, that's not a time it's happening. And there was a lot going on there.
There was
several masses being said.
Yep.
But the church was Christ focused in its layout, and its art in a way that maybe some others weren't. And I thought, just from the standpoint of, from a Lutheran point of view, of balancing the aesthetic with piety and with hearing and participating, it seemed to be laid out in a way that made a lot of sense in our day. Plus, as Lutherans, we're both Pauline.
Right.
We're both fans of Paul. I would say my second, I won't say St. Sebastian, but only because you said that.
Sure.
But we stumbled upon the Church of the Apostles, right by where we're staying, of Philip and James the Lesser.
James, yep.
And they're both buried there. Once again, I say supposedly, not denying it, but
right.
I haven't done the research. I haven't seen the bones, Jason.
Right. Yes.
But I would say that was a wonderful church, and the basement where the graves are.
Which was one of the places that you could actually get down into the crypts,
and not a busy place.
Nope. Right.
And like old Christian depictions, while you have more Renaissance stuff maybe upstairs. The variety in there was great. Okay, religious, not church.
Religious, not church. I would say there were a couple of different things going on, but today I think the catacombs really. We went to the Saint Sebastian catacombs. There are a couple of different ones you can go to, but we got a tip from a fellow traveler that we just happened to meet.
Befriended on a bus while I got mocked for befriending them.
I believe there's a meme.
I hear American English.
Yep.
And I make friends.
There supposedly is a meme going around based on your interaction with these,
rather
with
cruel.
These people and others.
Rather biting.
Yeah. I mean, that we'll see. It may go viral. We don't know. But they said they had gone to that and they had heard that was the best one to go to. And we got there. It was about a half an hour tour through and
our best public transport experience.
Yeah.
Every stop, the bus or whatever we were taking was right there.
Yep.
Right there. We didn't have to backtrack at all.
Didn't have to wait.
Yeah.
It was good. And
you go outside the walls, you see legit Rome, and then you see old Rome outside the walls. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that place too, I think, talking about the practice of Christian piety and, what that was like well before, Rome was the Rome of the Christian church, right? It was Rome still at the time of the empire where persecution was taking place, and Christians were outsiders, and yet were allowed to practice their burial rites in those places, and it was neat to see some of the symbolism and just the history that went along with that. That was really a neat sight, although it was kind of an eerie thing when you're walking down in these narrow passageways and twists and turns. And
I do want to go back with friend of the podcast,
yes,
and listener, and Synodical Bigwig,
Yes, Synodical Bigwig as well.
Pastor Daniel Lidner, who is a traveler, has gone many places,
Oh,
and I
he
think
has,
he's even
yeah.
gone here.
Yep.
But I would have loved to watch him. It was fun watching Jason
Yep.
go through the catacombs. It
But
would have been fun to see Dan try, because my head I had to duck sometimes, and I am
yes,
not the tallest
right.
of
And
men.
and Dan has probably got 5-6 inches on me,
Yeah.
and is also a big guy. So yeah, that would be fun. That would be
Yeah.
fun.
I would say catacombs are my favorite too. I think something that we've talked about a lot with Jason and with the kids too is, um, we joked with coming over, would I return to Roman Catholicism? And these trips for me always kind of reinforce my Lutheranism, because so many of the places you go, they're beautiful, and
Yes.
they're transcendent, right? They're and the light and the art. Um, but you think of your home church, and nothing against my home church, but we know we need to build a new church eventually, and
Right.
the sanctuary wasn't built to be the forever sanctuary. But on a Sunday when it's full and we're singing and you're hearing the gospel, and everybody's just right there, um, I mean, that's what it's about,
Right.
right? That's what it's
Yeah.
about. And that's not to say like we should build beautiful churches.
Yep.
Like Lutherans should be building beautiful churches.
Yes.
And we got away from that for the while. We won't say when,
Right,
like
yep.
the 70s. But
Or we might.
but at the same time, churches that aren't made in a way that God's simply other, that I feel,
Yeah.
that He is this other thing, and they draw me up, and I am small. That's a part of reverence, but also that God is here, that He's close. And I think that's the power of the catacombs, is here you
Yeah.
have these people, and they're not constantly persecuted, and it's not every single Christian that's persecuted, but there's people who are paying the price for their faith, and these burial spots, and they're buried because the body is sacred.
Right.
It's important. Um, become where you come on anniversaries of their death to celebrate their birth, right? To celebrate their eternal life, their gospel places.
Their birth to eternal life.
Yeah, and eventually this leads to veneration of the saints, because feast days get connected. But what they're doing is a very natural thing. It's the resurrection that they're confessing, and in these places that aren't built to be the most lovely places,
Right.
and you're cramped and tight, and you imagine them singing hymns of grace and mercy and resurrection and of Christ, and how powerful that would be. And that's what some of the churches here too, the older churches, you're drawn to the fact of how they're built to draw you into interaction with God, and that's what's really powerful, for me. Not that there's not a place for the big and the grand,
Right.
too, but I think we've both commented, there's the churches where you can tell they're built in an age where it's Christ and apostles and stuff like that. And then there's the churches, and this happens in Germany and Protestant lands too, where it's the people who are the benefactors have to be pictured in everything, and their name is there. I thought that was St. Peter's, and with some others. At the same time, I would sit in St. Peter's every day for a week,
Oh yeah, there's a lot going
and
on
consider
there.
stuff. So that's not a knock on it.
And
Uh,
I would say too, like one of the amazing things is the arts in service to the gospel that you see here, and yeah, you'd say that some of that is maybe misguided, and you don't always agree with the direction that they go with some of those things, but at the same time,
but often they preach a heck of a sermon.
they
Yeah.
do, yeah. And the amount of skill and talent and energy and devotion that went into that, and the number of people that were willing to say this is important and this
Yep.
deserves a place, not only in my home or in my life, but this deserves a place in the community,
A prominent
and
place in the
prominent
neighborhood.
place,
Yeah. All right, we can't go too long, Jason.
Right,
All right,
yep.
rapid fire.
we could go a long time.
Favorite meal?
Favorite
You don't have
meal?
to say where, just what.
My favorite meal probably so far has been the first the first spaghetti carbonara that I had.
Okay.
That was really good.
I would say the gnocchi.
Yes.
Gnocchi.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had that, and then we had the prosciutto and mozzarella that you got us.
Yeah, that was the prosciutto and mozzarella.
But
Mozzarella,
with the exception of one,
mozzarella di bufalo.
yeah, only one of the pizzas were
Yep.
The
Yep.
rest have been great.
Yep. And
all right.
the pasta here is just unbelievable.
Favorite wine?
Phenomenal. Favorite wine? That was the night that Connor picked the restaurant. That was a really good wine,
Yep.
I think.
Which
But
we took
you
a
picked the
picture
wine.
of. We have to. It was a sweet wine. That was also my favorite beer.
Favorite beer? Oh, I'd have to say this one so far is Birra Moretti. But I got high hopes for Munich when it comes to beer.
I've been liking the Peroni. I know we're supposed to just be wine people, but
right.
We've been in moderation.
Yeah.
I've only had one Peroni a night.
Yeah.
It's a big Peroni.
It's a big Peroni.
But it ain't even a 40.
That's right. That's right.
So
yeah.
We haven't even poured anything out for the homies, though. We should.
Yes, we should. We should.
Martin.
Yeah.
Okay. We did favorite random snack, other type food. So you're probably gonna go with the gelato.
I would have to go gelato, and especially that little place right off of the Fountain Square, where
right by the Trevi Fountain, yeah.
Which is only a block and a half or so down from our.
Well, okay, what flavor, Jason? We got to keep this going.
Oh, the favorite I really like. They said pistachio. Pistachio is the most common, and I thought that was really good.
I liked when we got to do the two things. I don't know if Connor can hear me, but he'll have to correct me. We combined two coffee flavors. We got the same thing. Was it cappuccino and latte? Cappuccino and top something latte top. Okay, and that was my favorite gelato.
And honestly, all the gelato's been really good too.
Okay, least favorite moment.
Oh, least favorite moment. Probably some of the probably coming out of the Termini station and trying to figure out where we were going. That when we first got to Rome, trying to figure out where in the world the buses were and how we were going to get to our hotel.
That was a very confusing.
Yeah, that was a frustrating moment.
I would say when I came out of the souvenir shop, and Jason was at the souvenir shop next door, and I won't say what he was buying, but he was having he was very comfortable, and this lovely old Asian woman speaking Italian also seemed very comfortable.
Right. Just trying to.
But the level of conversation they were having about a very random thing was so piqued Jason that I had to walk away. I thought you were gonna say the parrots was your.
Parrots, yeah.
Okay. I should have asked that. Favorite random thing. Would that be the parrots?
Thing? Oh, yeah. The parrots were cool. Yeah.
Explain the parrots.
So we were sitting outside the Coliseum waiting for our tour to start, and there's a tree out there. We were sitting around there on benches, and all of a sudden look and hear these parrots. And I had heard that there was a rumor that there might be parrots in Rome because pets had gotten out, and now this population has taken over. And sure enough, we got to see the parrots, and this led to a whole long discussion on parrots. Yeah, which some of us really enjoyed, others maybe not quite as much.
Yeah, I have to say, favorite random moment. I don't mean this in a mean way.
Oh, how could I ever take it that way?
So we thought we lost Jason. We're in the Coliseum, and we went up these steep steps to go to the second floor because we did the main floor first because we're not peasants. We had the orange. Only the green was higher than us for stickers. And so we get up these steps, and we're looking at the museum type stuff. And we're waiting to go, and we're like, where's Jason? We can't find Jason. Connor and Maggie go back to these steps. We're thinking maybe he had a heart attack on them. We can't find Jason. We're looking for his distinctive green umbrella and his shirt. Walking all around, can't find him. Finally get down to the exit. Jason was waiting at the exit the whole time. Yeah. Never left the first floor because he didn't realize we went up. Right. Even though we thought he was walking with us. Um,
You guys must have sprinted up those steps because I had seen something that we had been talking about, and there was a plaque explaining
Yeah.
it. So I thought, oh, I'll stop and take a picture quick, and then
Yeah.
we can talk about it later. And then I turn around and
Yeah.
they're
So
gone.
Jason's the only one who doesn't have cell service in Europe because he has
right.
Cricket Wireless. And so the worst one to get lost
Not a
because he
sponsor
doesn't
yet.
have cell service. And so I say it's my favorite moment because I was thinking, because he had the hotel keys.
I was the only one that had the whole.
And so if he did have a heart attack and die, I'm thinking I can't get in the hotel. How am I going to sleep tonight?
Yeah.
Right? But that we found him when I thought it might be turning into an hours thing. And it was a funny story. So I'll say that was
It worked out
favorite
just
because
fine.
we really did think that was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Especially because if you had gone to find Wi-Fi to call us, who knows
Yep.
where you end up?
Right. Yep.
Who knows if you can work Wi-Fi?
It's a gamble. Yep.
Yep. And we were reunited, so that was happy. All right. Well, that's what we've got from Rome. I think maybe we got to do at least one podcast bonus episode, just us,
Yes.
and we'll talk through. Also, you'll be seeing popping up now, hopefully. Jason and I are down here. We're kind of scouting for maybe a study tour or a group tour down the road, but also for History of Christianity. And then I teach Western Civ. And so for that, just to incorporate these things in our courses.
Right.
But we will be leading in May. First time for me, third time?
May of 2024.
2024.
Yep.
Third time for Jason?
Third time.
We're going to be doing a Lutherland tour, 11 days
11 days.
in Germany. So we'll be getting details of that out. We've put together. We've both been there numerous times on our own, and you with a tour.
Yes.
I've usually gone on my own.
And one time together.
Yes, which was memorable.
It was. Yes, it
And
was.
we've picked what we think is the best, and a mix of getting in just some good German things to see. We'll have a bus.
Yep.
We'll have microphones on the bus.
Yes.
So we can talk to people. We'll be able to give talks at places if people want them.
Right.
And so we're excited to be doing this. We'll have it up on the Let the Bird Fly social media. Hopefully have a page on the Let the Bird Fly website, letthebirdfly.com. We'll have physical flyers. But be looking for that if you've enjoyed following us on Facebook for the trip. And if you're not friends with us on Facebook yet, send me a friend request if you don't seem too weird. We got some mutual friends, right? You don't seem like a stalker. I'll friend you. You can go back and look. Don't friend this guy. It's all weird. It's like manhole covers, like farm agricultural equipment, things about cheeses.
Did you know they have neat manhole covers in Rome?
They do.
Yes. So
yeah. So
every single one of them.
You can friend him if you want, but if you want to see what we've been doing, but we are excited about that. We've been spending a lot of time putting it together. We think it'll be a really fun trip. It'll be Let the Bird Fly themed in the sense of we really want to get to sites and talk about how God used this for the Reformation, and whether you're Lutheran or not, even how God used it to get the gospel out, the good news of Jesus Christ. So maybe tomorrow we'll get a video. We'll get Connor and Maggie to join us. But I think maybe Connor. I doubt Maggie.
You never know.
But we'll see. This has gone long enough. Hopefully YouTube will let us upload it. Look for a couple though podcasts, maybe one, maybe two podcast bonus episodes where we walk through what we did here, what we learned. Jason has been keeping a feelings journal.
Yes, exactly.
And I felt bad yesterday. I kind of snapped at him at the Roma Termini train station, which he was explaining. Termini is because all roads lead to Rome. I was trying to figure like adult things, like where we were going to travel and stuff like that. And I was out of line. Well, Wade Bird. And I think you forgive me.
I do, yes.
But
I will give you an absolvo te here on the right here.
But he wrote for an extra long time. In that he had some monkey wine.
Yep.
And he wrote for an extra long time in his feelings journal that night.
That's right.
So maybe we'll talk through that, but look for those episodes. Where's Mike? Mike doesn't want to travel with us for some reason.
No, he doesn't.
In fact, we won't even say what he said.
Yeah, we're still,
rather than traveling us what he'd rather do.
We're still working on him. We might, in the future.
I got him a good present.
Yes.
And I think he'll enjoy it.
I think he will.
It's gone long enough. We're going to let you go. We hope whether you're in Italy or Germany or Switzerland or from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or somewhere else, that you've had a good week. Most importantly, whether you're in the biggest church or the smallest, whatever the language of the land may be, whatever your weather may be like, whether you got a Peroni or a PBR
Birra Moretti.
or a Pepsi Cola or water. We hope that God is near you. You are dear to Him. You are free in the gospel, so that you can let the bird fly.